Hello, everybody. This is our conference wrap-up video. We've had such a great 2 days, and we felt we just wanted to pull out some of the highlights, things we took away from it, and how we were listening during those 2 days. Firstly, I want to say thank you for everybody who came. We were delighted. I think it was 220 people. What I liked also was the range of attendees, so many tenants, experienced board members, and also a range of new tenants who came to learn and take back ideas. There's also a good range of housing staff, not just tenant participation officers, but comms, ops, heads of and directors of services. So the session seemed to be very well received. We received over 450 comments and questions over the 2 days. So I'd like just to ask maybe Elizabeth first, what did you take away from the 2 days?
Thanks, David, for picking on me first. Well, loads actually. It's hard to pinpoint really. It was such a great 2 days, and it went really smoothly, didn't it? So I think the Ombudsman session with Matthew Harris, he spoke about good complaints processes and putting customers at the centre. And the session was really popular. Lots of comments coming through in the Q&A. And I think just with the fact that they're now working with a number of landlords to improve complaint handling, like, just so important. It's something that we hear, and what they were saying just really mimicked what we say as TPAS Cymru. So, and I think it's good that they're everything that they're working on and making things more accessible for tenants to access the Ombudsman themselves, and improving the reporting and early intervention as well. It was a bit disappointing seeing some of the comments from tenants who were worried about if they complained that they might be issued with a Section 21 notice. So I think that really brought something up about creating that level of awareness for social housing tenants specifically, so they weren't afraid and they didn't have the fear to complain, because complaints are always, they're like gold dust, aren't they? So I think it's really important. So yeah, I think that for me was a really valuable part of the conference.
Thanks very much. I mean, Helen, you chaired a number of sessions. What did you take away from it?
Again, like Elizabeth, it's really difficult to pick just one thing, but I think for me it was Leslie Baird talking on the first day, because Leslie always brings lots of enthusiasm and about tenant engagement, and she reminded us, I think, of the fact that the traditional ways maybe that we've talked about at TPAS Cymru, that when you go out onto estate walkabouts, use those opportunities to engage with your tenants about housing services, how their homes are run. I love the idea she mentioned of a panto bus behind you. Yeah. And I just thought that was brilliant. Again, you arrange a trip for your tenants, but whilst they're on the bus, you use that opportunity to share information with them and engage with them, do consultation with them about the service they're getting in relation to their housing. And of course, the ice cream van. Who doesn't love an ice cream? I love that. It's an innovative way of encouraging your tenants to come out with their children, and while you've got them as a captive audience, ask their opinion about housing, give them information about what you're doing. Yeah, brilliant. It's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's not. There's some great ideas from Scotland. I think the panto bus, I think Cynnon may have done that in the past as well, but I think it's a brilliant idea. Brilliant. Yeah. David, what did you take out of it?
Well, David, I'm a bit of a housing regulation geek, so I obviously was really interested in that session. So it's really great, and big thank you to Ian Walters from Welsh Government Regulation Team and Dr. Bob Smith from the Regulatory Board for Wales, who came along and gave us really up-to-the-minute update on the review of the regulatory framework, which will be coming out hopefully over the next few months, and what are the proposals for some revised regulatory standards. So it's quite interesting having that really topical update. And also interesting lots of the comments from tenants as well about it. Ian did emphasise about how the revised regulatory standards will put a greater emphasis on tenant engagement across them. So that was great, and I think tenants really welcomed hearing that. They also mentioned about improvements to the regulatory judgment reports, so they're a bit more informative and user-friendly. Yeah. We'll see how that looks. when they're out, because there were lots of questions from tenants about that. How will they understand? How will they know how their landlord is doing, what the regulators think of them, and how landlords will share that information and be more transparent with their tenants about regulation judgments as well. And also there was quite a lot of comments around our local authority housing tenants. Are those housing providers regulated as well? Because at the minute, under the regulatory framework, they're not. So I think there's probably call for perhaps a clearer statement from Welsh Government on, you know, what is the regulation of local authorities looking like. Because I think it's fair to say tenants are expecting consistency across social housing as well. And I think once all these revisions are known to the framework and the regulatory standards, we'll no doubt be doing lots of work, events, information to make sure our members, tenants and staff are aware of them.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. I think some good stuff there. I think for me, it was around the decarb and retrofit. There's so much talk about it in the sector, but what came loud across to me from tenants over the 2 days was significant improvements needed on tenant engagement for retrofit. Because, as I say, it's talked a lot in the sector, but the tenants want to know, what does it mean for them? You know, we need case studies, we need results of tests today, the tenant experience coming through. It feels like it's happening without that wider tenant being part of it. Keith Edwards and Tamsin Sterling often use the term, you know, not about us, without us. And it's that sort of, you know, tenants need to be involved in that decision making around retrofit. And I think Amanda, a tenant from Newydd, summed it up perfectly. I think her quote was something like, "A lack of knowledge causes more resistance and fears." And I think that, to me, is where the retrofit challenge needs to come. It needs to engage and bring tenants along with where we are so far. And she posed a wonderful question about the cooker question. I think this is a key subject now for the cooker question, which was, if you're going to change my gas and, you know, turn me over to electric and everything else, are you going to replace my cooker? Because I can't afford to. And it was also about repairs and, you know, with retrofit. And I think it's summed up perfectly why tenants need to be involved in this. And I was delighted to see some officers email me later saying that they'd gone to their head of service to try and find out a bit more about how it was going to impact tenants. So I say thank you to all of you who contributed to our conference. There's so much more, I think, in terms of takeaways that we could say. We were really pleased with you, the delegates, the interactivity and your feedback. The speakers were excellent, and we could carry on. But I hope this is a quick summary of some of the things, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.